You are listening to Season 4 of Black Girl Missing, a true crime podcast covering stories of missing black girls under the age of 18. When black girls go missing, their cases are severely underreported in mainstream media. Join us as we dig deeper, ask questions, and provide unconsidered context. Due to the sensitive and sometimes graphic nature of these cases, we advise you to please use caution when listening.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Black Girl Missing. It is your favorites. Come on, admit that we're your favorites. It is I. What is my name? This is episode, 5 now? I'm Feminista Jones. I'll be Dr. FJ, Dr. Taylor, whatever. I'm here with my lovely, lovely, lovely co-hosts.
Hi. Why? Me
Why
and
are we like
Nikki.
this? Okay, well,
Anyway,
okay.
You gotta
And
find
let's
joy
go.
somewhere.
Let's go
word.
again. All right.
Everything's a mess right now.
No, it is. It really is. All right, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Black Girl Missing. We are so happy that you're here. I am Feminista Jones.
I'm Asa.
I'm Nikki.
Audience, we laugh a lot because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on when we record, and I hope people understand we are just a group of friends who have a really great time with each other, and so sometimes you get some of that. How are you all doing this week? How's it been? How's it been?
That's a trick question, right?
No. I don't like, what do we say, right? So at the time that we are recording this, everyone, the United States has begun its descent into fascism, and we're being hit and inundated with all kinds of stuff. I just read now that President Donald Trump is getting rid of the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1965, or was trying to, and wants to reverse all of the DEI programs and initiatives on a federal level, which means not only are people have they lost their jobs and they've been put on paid leave, but also any students that are participating in any kind of graduate programs or courses of study that are funded through DEI program funding no longer have their funding. And so we're going to see the effects of this as people begin to drop out of school because they can't afford it. That's just one of the things that I'm thinking about right now as somebody who recently completed graduate school. That's just one thing of the 74 things that have taken place in the last 48 hours. So that's the context in which we are bringing you this, and we
and
hope that everybody understands that.
yeah, and we're late because of climate change.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
some
yeah,
snow happened and
yeah,
people couldn't get back home.
yeah, yeah. There's so many things going on, but we press on because we are committed to telling these stories. We're committed to amplifying the voices and sharing about the lives of people who have long been ignored. We're gonna ride this till the wheels fall off, right, y'all? We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna do our part.
Indeed.
I got two things to say.
Oh,
All right.
First of all, I just want to point out our podcast does not have ads.
Mm.
We have no ads.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no shade to any other podcast. We don't have ads because I don't feel comfortable selling y'all headphones while I'm talking about a missing black girl. It just don't feel right to me.
Mm.
That
mm,
said, that said, you are more than welcome to go to our website, blackgirlmissingpod.com, and hit that donate button
Mm.
and give us a
Mm-hmm.
little money because
We
we
need some
fund
income coming in.
we funded
yeah.
this podcast with our own money out of our own pockets. We produce it, we write it, we research it, we do the post production. All of our equipment, we went out to the store and purchased it with our own bucks.
Yes, a labor
I go
of
to
love
work.
still costs money.
I go to work 5 days a week so that I can do this podcast for free. And I love it. We ain't got no ads on this thing. Go hit our hand. The other thing I want to say, I got like a little smidge of good news. I got a new job, y'all.
Hey! Shout out to new job.
I ain't gonna tell nobody where I work because y'all know where I work, and that's enough. But I just want to say, being able to do work that I truly enjoy and like get paid for it, I do not take that lightly because I know a lot of people just like hate their jobs. So I'm just very grateful that I get to like do stuff with my life that I truly enjoy. I can't really think of anything in my life that I have to do that I hate. Like I was thinking about that earlier today and I was like having just a moment of gratitude and I was like, I mean, I hate paying bills, but I don't feel like that counts. But outside of that, like I really do like my whole life. And that's dope. I love it. I really do. I'm very grateful. And I'm just glad that I get to share, some of the most important parts of my life with y'all. Because I love y'all.
I love
I'm not
you
gonna
too.
proud of you. Very proud of the work that you do. And I appreciate you as well. So let's keep rocking on.
Today, we are going to talk about this one's a little rough. This one is I ain't even gonna, this one pisses me off. I'm just going to say it like that. We are going to talk about the Oliver sisters from Atlanta, Texas. It's a city in Texas named Atlanta. I know that that's going to sound kind of confusing, but Atlanta, Texas is small. It's a small city in Texas. We're going to talk about the Oliver sisters. Just south of Texarkana and west of Shreveport, Louisiana, sits the tiny town of Atlanta. It was originally developed and established with the building of the Texas and Pacific Railway. Atlanta became a small hub of successful businesses within Cass County, Texas. Now, the railway allowed for like lumbering and sawmilling to thrive until the Great Depression. Now, Atlanta, Texas is 12 square miles with a population of just over 5,000 people. Farming, forestry, and oil remain the moneymakers here. A rural, majority white community, Atlanta is home to just over 1,500 Black people. But put a pin in that because it's going to matter real soon. July 29th, 2022, around 9:30 p.m., Shamanique Oliver Wickerson, a mom of 6, received a phone call that would change her life forever. Your kids are missing. Shamanique's older cousin, Paris Props, had been living with her and was babysitting while Shamanique was at work. He called her from a neighbor's home and she immediately called 911 and rushed home. I just want to pause. She called 911.
Not the babysitter.
Right. Why you ain't call? No. We're going to keep going. Upon her arrival, Shamanique finds that 3 of her 6 children are missing. 9-year-old Zairiel Robinson Oliver, 8-year-old Amaya Hughes, and 5-year-old Tamari Robinson Oliver. Now, with the exception of Tamari, an 8 and a 9-year-old are old enough to be able to at least know where they live, where they're going, what they're doing in a small community that they live in. Let's all just keep that in mind. Neighbors, law enforcement, and rescue crews descended upon the rural neighborhood to scour the mostly undeveloped terrain in search of the missing girls. Now remember, this is late at night because when Shamanique received a phone call, it was 9:30. So it's already late. It's July. So the sun had already gone down. 9:30 is dark out. She didn't live very close to her job, so it was going to take her a minute to get home. And when the search began, it was dark out. And on that day, there were heavy thunderstorms in the late afternoon and the early evening that likely made it real muddy and more difficult to navigate. Now, after a few hours, tiny shoes and some scattered clothing and a child's bike were found in a field near Shamanique's home. That field is coincidentally owned by Paris's mother, Lamisha. More on her later. Hold on. Now, on the opposite side of Shamanique's home is a large field with a pond belonging to a home further down the road. Now, in the early hours of July 30th, the Bowie County dive team recovered the bodies of the 3 girls from that pond. Now, this pond was truly only, it's hard to get to unless you're on a horse from where they would be coming from. Well, they ain't had no horse. When I say undeveloped terrain, this area is just, it's a lot of just, rough land. A lot of the roads are not paved. So if it rains outside, you ain't going to be outside gallivanting because it's just not the right terrain for that. Now, law enforcement insinuated that the girls drowned, but Shamanique was very clear. Her children do not go into, they wouldn't walk through the field barefoot, and they would not go into the pond. Now, remember, there were thunderstorms that afternoon, so it's probably real muddy too.
Right.
I also think it matters to mention that Black mamas don't play about water. No, you learn early on. You don't go play around that water. You don't play in that water. And it's dark outside. It's dark outside and it's dark water. You absolutely ain't playing around that.
Yeah.
Now,
especially if they just got their hair done.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I said, especially if they just got their hair done.
Especially just got their hair done. Now, Cass County District Attorney Courtney Shelton gave an official statement on the findings. She said that the autopsies were performed the day the girls' bodies were discovered. About a week later or so, a Texas Ranger met with Shamanique and her father to give them limited information from the preliminary autopsy reports. The cause of death was homicide. They did not drown. They were murdered. Now, go ahead.
So when the police gave them that information, did they give them like a cause of death other than it was a homicide, or were they keeping that kind of close to the vest in terms of like investigation?
No, they let them know like what was going on right away, but they did not talk. They didn't tell the public. So the public wasn't informed that the girls were victims of homicide until 8 months after their deaths. And I think part of that may have been they wanted to keep that close to their chest for investigative purposes. Also, in a small community, and when you have so few Black people living in this small community, you want to make sure that people know if there is danger afoot. Is there somebody walking around attacking children? Like, people are going to want to know that kind of stuff. Now, so far, the public information that's available is just, it's rough. So the girls were sexually assaulted. They were strangled to death before being thrown in the pond. And they had lacerations on their faces. Now, for clarity for the listeners, a laceration is a bloody, irregular tear or cut in the skin caused by blunt trauma. It's deeper and more severe than just a cut or a scratch, or it's deeper than that. Now,
probably like a knife or something. Yeah.
Right. Or like, any kind of foreign object that's sharp or, can
Sharp.
cut. Yep.
So now I'm like, was there multiple people involved? Because 3 girls being sexually assaulted and killed at the same time?
That's a great question, right?
Yeah.
That's a great question. And I got a lot of questions. So when Paris went to the neighbor's home to call Shamanique at work, he went past Shamanique's house to do so. Because the neighbor that he called is on the opposite side of her house from the pond. And, the yards that these people have are pretty big. So it's not like they're close up together. You had to go all the way to the end of the next road, which is probably like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 minute walk, couple minute run to go to this person's house to call the police. You telling me that you in her house with no phone?
I was going to ask.
To go back and look at what the time, like what year this was, I was like, oh, cell phones were plentiful.
20.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, you ain't got no phone?
Exactly. That don't seem...
Well, let's not be elitist and assume, because we do know there is a divide, there's a technology divide. However,
hold on, FJ.
Oh, no.
At the time that this took place, Paris loved him some Facebook, okay? Paris was on Facebook every day. He had a phone.
Well then. Okay.
So anyway.
That's what happens when we try to give men the benefit of the doubt.
Truly.
We try.
Every time.
So he goes past Shamanique's house, goes to the neighbor's house. She is a senior, older woman, has known them for many years. Very nice woman. She noticed that he was wet. She said, like, really wet. All the way to his knees.
What is happening?
And
so not like I got caught in the rain wet, but I was wading through water wet.
Correct. Not I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Not I was in the rain. She said he was soaked.
In the water.
Ma'am.
What's wrong with me?
How would you say that?
I don't know. There was an ancestor that just came through me real quick and was like,
God.
Okay,
now, again,
right.
Paris never called 911. He called Shamanique at work and she called 911. And he didn't say too much. He was like, your kids are missing. And that was like it.
Yeah, that's a wild ass statement to say to somebody over the phone. Like, excuse me? What do you mean?
Your kids are missing. The
kids you're supposed to be watching?
Yeah.
Fuck you mean?
So Paris wasn't publicly considered a suspect, was not brought in for questioning, has ceased all communication with Shamanique. And when asked about his involvement, Shamanique stated that his mother will not allow him to speak to police. Now, as a reminder...
What in the green leaf is this?
You know what?
Audience.
Greenleaf is a soap opera on the OWN network. Oh my!
I'm sorry, y'all. We not laughing because it's funny. We laughing because Asa's commentary.
Asa don't have no sense. She don't have no sense.
Asa ain't got no sense. And if y'all have never seen Greenleaf, I'm gonna need you to like tap into it or something. But,
because my comment makes absolute sense in this context.
Yeah, it do. So now again, I just want to wrap one more time. Shamanique and Paris are cousins. I'm not sure if Lamisha is Shamanique's aunt or if Paris's dad is Shamanique's uncle. But regardless, Lamisha is family. Shamanique and Paris are cousins. They are a couple years apart in age. Paris at the time is 31 years old. 31 years. His mother will not, air quotes, won't allow him to speak to police. Grown man isn't speaking to police because his mom told him not to. All right. Now, that is very curious to me because Paris is no stranger to police. Prior to the girls being murdered, Paris Props amassed a pretty impressive rap sheet that ranged from carrying an unlicensed weapon, tampering with physical evidence, promoting prostitution, possession of a dangerous drug, and several evading related arrests. Now, I just want to clarify what some of this stuff means for the listeners. Now, for promoting prostitution, we are pro sex work here. I don't even like the term prostitution, it's weird, but we know that that's what legal entities like to use. Now, promoting prostitution means that you knowingly promoted a person as a prostitute. Depending on how you like to take in information, that's essentially sex trafficking. They just don't call it that in Texas. Yes, he's pimping. They just don't call it that in Texas. But basically, he's pimping. Some of the details of that case, it looked like he may have been trafficking women or girls on Backpage or the site used to be able to do that. Craigslist and things like that. It also means, and this is all by Texas statutes because this is where he lived and he was arrested. I didn't go off any other states. I just went off Texas. Promoting prostitution is knowingly promoting a person as a prostitute, and it's also receiving a fee or some type of currency for the act of prostitution to occur. Again, that you basically were pimping somebody on the internet. Yeah. Possession of a dangerous drug, according to Texas statutes, is a dangerous drug means a device or a drug that's unsafe for self-medication and that is not included in Schedules 1 through 5. So that would be a drug like Valium or Xanax. Considering how popular Xanax is on the street, could have been Xans. We don't know. But I also want to point out that Lamisha took to social media a few years ago, 2020, I believe it was, and posted pictures and videos of Paris Prop's face just battered, allegedly by police. And asked if the police were allowed to do that and what they had planned to do to basically make her son whole. I'm not sure whatever came of that case, but I just think it's very interesting that he was beat up by police and now there is a murder investigation that it doesn't appear that he is being held as a suspect in any way. He, to my knowledge, from what I could find, has not been arrested for their murder or in question of their murder. This is still an open investigation. I am absolutely keeping my eye on it because these little girls deserve so much more. They deserve so much better. I was reading, this is the part where I get upset. Like my stomach is just turning right now. I was reading a lot of posts about the girls around the time that they had gone missing and been, because they were found the very next morning, but the way people reacted to Shamanique, called her a deadbeat mother, called her every name in the book. And I'm like, she was at work.
Right. See, this is what I be talking about when
she was at work. What about her as a deadbeat mother? She's literally at work. And you know what? And this should not matter, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Shamanique owns her home. She does not rent. She owns her home. She owns her home. She also owns the land that she lives on. I did a deep dive and I found out all of this. Shamanique has seemingly never been without a job. But the way people will vilify a Black mother when her children are victimized by an outside bad actor, I am so disgusted. Researching this took me a long time because I kept having to stop and cry because I cannot imagine the pain that she was feeling, the frustration that she was feeling. If she was very active on social media. And if you look at her social media before her kids disappeared, she was like one of those people who they always had like a kid party. There's always a like, bring your kids, you know. It just, it's sickening. It really is. It's disgusting. And she seemed like such a joyful person, like such a joyful mom. Her kids, there's so many pictures and videos of them just like laughing, being goofy. Adorable little girls, just so cute. And I'm not surprised that people reacted the way that they did to her. The things that they said to her about her, harassing her online. I'm talking Twitter, Facebook, wherever they could find her, Snapchat.
Ooh.
Basically cyber stalking her so that they could harass her about what happened to her girls as if she were there. Knowing.
And as if the police aren't fumbling the freaking investigation. Like, do you expect her to interrogate this man herself? Like, ooh, y'all are feral
and then
disgusting.
And then feral.
No, they have gone feral. She is absolutely right. I think we need to talk about the fact that we, on the other side of the pandemic, or like whatever was going on, this was 2022 or what have you, we have moved into a place where human beings don't seem to understand how to interact with other human beings, right? And I'm specifically looking at a lot of the crimes that have been happening just this past week. Trigger warning, everybody, it's disgusting, but I'm going to say it. Just this past week, and I'm just talking, these were all 3 Black men. One was arrested for raping his friend's dog. One was charged with, and we'll be talking about this case, but sexually assaulting a child and performing an abortion on her, right? And the other one, I can't even remember what the other one was, but it was disgusting. And I just remember sitting here thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? Like, how did we get here? And it's not to say that these kinds of things have not been happening all the time, but I am sorry, y'all. Like, things are getting worse. People are absolutely feral, rabid. Just, I don't even get it anymore. Like, I just don't get it. You know, and I'm thinking about, you know, this woman, as you're talking about her, Nikki, you know, kind of looking into her story, you know, describing her as this loving mother, this attentive mother, right? This is a woman, she's working, she's doing the best she can for her children. I'm sorry, how are y'all going to call her a neglectful mother when there's only 3 of the girls, 3 of the 6 children? Like, if this was about neglect, right? If this wasn't someone specifically targeting these girls, right? Why weren't all the kids? Why didn't this happen to all the kids? Did I miss that part of the story, or like, am I making this up in my head? Like, what is happening here? Okay,
a cousin is watching them. Like, come on, all family members didn't watch you growing up. Like, what is that? This
happens all the time, and when it like you said, when it comes to Black mothers, we have seen it time and time again. Even with the mothers who have had to bring their children to work, right? We'll set them up in the car. They have food. They can breathe. They go and check on them every hour. Like, we still want to condemn them. This woman was not doing that. And she's still condemned. So what it's saying, the message is getting out, is that the Black mother is inherently neglectful, and that goes back to enslavement. This is what my research is on. It goes back to enslavement, and the most insidious thing about it is that Black women, Black mothers, are forced to labor for whiteness and a white society, and they're forced to put their children, you know, deprioritize their children in favor of whiteness. But when they do that, then they're called neglectful mothers. And there's no way that we get out of that. There's no system that gets out of that, because there is no care, there is no empathy, there is nothing for Black mothers. We are not allowed the vocation of motherhood. Okay, we are supposed to mother white children and mother white people, but we're not allowed to mother our own children, and we're not allowed to enjoy it. And I think that there's a visceral reaction that some people have when they see a Black mother loving and being affectionate with her child. I talked about this quite a few times in some of my research and work. I said, why is it that the videos that go viral of Black mothers are not of them bouncing babies on their knees? Why don't we have a viral thing, somebody go viral with a mother who threw a wonderful party? No, you know the first thing they're gonna do? Why she spend all that money on them kids? Why she so extreme? Like, anytime you see a Black mother loving on her children, there will be a whole crowd ready to condemn her and find flaws with it. And I'm just so tired of this, because in this case, this woman deserves answers, right? This woman loved her children. And like she said, if these children were white, Cass County would do a different job. They would do a better job. All hands on deck. Everything would stop until they found those 3 children. But because this woman dared to have more than 3 children, right? Dared to exist, she is vilified and she is blamed for what is obviously, to me, a case of trafficking. Like, to me, I'm just like, did the cousin sell these kids to somebody? Like, what the hell?
It's another thing where a Black mother, Black woman is getting blamed for the actions of somebody else. And then there's also the urge to protect from Paris's mother, which just flat is an affront to everything. Like, this is your kin, and you won't help them figure out who killed their children, even if it's not your son. I don't know if it is. None of us do. But to say do not cooperate at all and to cut off contact?
Come on. You know what's curious to me is sorry y'all, I had to stop and cry.
Okay, it's okay.
Curious to me is, at the time that this all took place, Paris was living with Shamanique. Now, previously, he had always lived with his mama. And she had a house that could more than accommodate him. And it seems as though he may be an only child, I think, possibly. But he was living with his mom, and then he was living with Shamanique. So why weren't you living with your mother? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Did she put you out? Did she get sick of you when you're in and out of jail? Did she get tired of you and your drugs and your, your foolishness and your baby mama drama and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. Right now today, you can he's got several Facebook accounts that the comments are all open, and you see a lot of like back and forth and like subliminal commentary about women, and it's very misogynistic, of course. And then you'll see people, commenting like, what did you do to your cousins? Like, people are just like calling him out because law enforcement is not doing that. So, and I really went back and forth with myself about whether or not I was going to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to go on and do it because I'm a bad bitch who can't kill me. So it took about a year for the owner of the pond to allow the press to come and just check stuff out, just take a look and see what's what. But it's just so curious because that land is just, there's a lot of hiding who owns it. But again, you can't hide nothing from me. So
inch high, private eye.
Inch high, private eye, baby. So that pond, that land, the home adjacent to it, are all owned by and occupied by a Texas state trooper. And I just think it's very interesting that a state trooper would not want a central part in figuring out what happened to these little girls.
Especially
on your land, especially because he is also a Black man and he is a father.
See, that don't mean nothing to me, because we know that when it comes to the trafficking of children and the abuse of children, that the police are often, involved in it, right? And let me also add that the mother, Shamanique, is dark skin,
Yep.
plus
And
size,
yep.
got kinky hair.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
She does not warrant or elicit any empathy at all.
None.
And I have to put that out there, y'all. We have to talk about how even the maternal aesthetic does not warrant the support because she is going to be regarded as some like ghetto country whatever kind of person.
Bingo. All of that. Like when I really started digging into this and figuring out who is who and what was what, I'm just like just exponentially grossed out by everything that I found and everything that I read. Also, I'm disgusted at the lack of information that I could find. When I say I had to do a deep dive, baby, I had to go real deep. I'm talking, I'm reading deeds and figuring out who bought what and when and how and why didn't they want their name on that and what is this about? And so I'm not saying that Paris Props sexually assaulted and murdered Shamanique's children, but I'm also not saying that he didn't do it.
Now,
I'm not saying
rewinding, I just want to rewind back to, you mentioned something about Paris having been beaten up by the cops at one point.
Yeah.
In what, 2020 was it or
I
something
believe
like that?
so. Yeah.
How likely is it that the cops are not investigating Paris because they do not want to pay out a lawsuit?
They don't want to dig into what they did to him, and they don't want that to come out because then that's going to be all part of discovery because they're going to want to look and see, well, what was his involvement in there? And then were there cameras and stuff like that? All of that stuff like that. It sounds like a massive cover up.
It's some bullshit is afoot, and I'm just disgusted because Shamanique deserves answers. She deserves to know what happened to her children and the whys and the hows and the, she needs to be made whole. This is wrong. There's a lot of things wrong here. And when it's a small town, it always makes me really nervous because you know that a lot of these people are connected. Again, there's only about 1,500 Black people who live here. Now, the person who owns the pond and the home adjacent to Shamanique's is originally from Atlanta, Texas. Lived there, his whole life. Left for a little while, college and all of that good stuff. Came back, and now he's a state trooper. Which, now that you have the power of the state trooper, I don't know whose side you on, because you might think you one of the good ones, or you might think that you are Officer Smiley. Either way, Shamanique can't trust you, and she has to look around the corner from you because he still lives there, and she still lives in her home with her 3 remaining children. And I worry about the small town mysteries because there's so much interconnectedness. There's so much history and there's so many unknowns because people keep secrets or they don't say certain things or they lie or whatever. And Shamanique deserves so much more than what she's getting.
Yes.
And the DA, she ought to be ashamed of herself.
Whew.
She ought to be ashamed of herself for the lack of attention she has given these children. Because anytime 3 kids are sexually assaulted and murdered, no matter what they look like, y'all need to be turning over every single rock. It should not be not a pill bug, not a caterpillar who is able to rest around there. Everybody should be like, oh my God, I'm being disturbed right now. Yeah, because we turning up all of this shit.
Because we turn it all up and we're not giving up.
I did reach out to Shamanique to see if she would be willing to speak to us. I did not get a response, and I don't blame her because the press has been up her behind for a really long time ever since it first happened. And she doesn't know us. She doesn't know that we would not talk to her the way that other people have. But, Shamanique, if you do happen to hear this, our door is always open to you. If you want to talk or not talk, if you want to tell us anything, we are not hard to find.
Yeah, we're here,
True.
Um,
and we're hoping. We just want you to know. My hope is that maybe she'll hear this and just like, look, we're out here. We're trying to help. Get awareness, spread awareness. So anything that we can do, we are happy to help you. And anybody who may know the family or anybody who
Yeah.
feels like they have some thoughts about it, we'd love to hear that because listen, we got. We are all we got. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what else to
that's
say. We
it.
are all we got.
We are really all we got.
Yep. All right.
But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We appreciate every episode you have ever listened to. Any second that you give us, um, like, subscribe, rate us,
Hmm.
give us five
Tell a friend.
stars.
Yeah, tell a
Um,
friend about it. Yeah.
tell a friend, tell your family. Sit down and listen to an episode with your friends and talk about it. That is, what will ensure that we can continue to do this for you. Um, we appreciate you, and we'll holler at y'all next time.
Toodles.
Black Girl Missing Podcast is researched, written, and produced by 3 concerned black women who want justice for missing black girls. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform so we can keep bringing you the stories of black girls that need to be told. Visit us at blackgirlmissingpod.com for all things Black Girl Missing. Today's episode was written and produced by yours truly. Black Girl Missing podcast is researched, written, and produced by 3 concerned Black women who want justice for missing Black girls. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform so we can keep bringing you the stories of Black girls that need to be told. Visit us at blackgirlmissingpod.com for all things Black Girl Missing. Today's episode was written by Asa Todd and produced by Nikki Irene.